Good afternoon. On today's news broadcast, we'll be looking at problems in Tennessee schools as well as damage in Puerto Rico, plus local sports, weather, and more. APSU-TV News starts right now. Good afternoon, I'm Ben Goodman.
And I'm Rachel Lejeune.
The man accused in a mass shooting at an Antioch church was in court on Wednesday. Emmanuel Sampson is facing a murder charge, and more charges could be added. Police say he gunned down 39-year-old Melanie Smith in a church parking lot on Sunday. Several others were injured. Police said the Sampson attended the church about a year or two ago. The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office have launched a civil rights investigation into the shooting. This story is still breaking as we speak. It's been found that the suspect had a note on his person referencing the white supremacist massacre in a black church 2 years ago in Charleston, South Carolina. Stay tuned to your local news for more updates on this story.
Students say that rats are out of control at a school in Memphis, Tennessee. As Kendall Kirkham reports, the students even have pictures of the rodents invading their classes.
People actually see them firsthand in the hallways, and they'll just talk about how disgusting it is.
Rats at White Station High School. It's a problem one student who wishes to remain anonymous says has gotten out of hand. She sent WMC Action News 5 a complaint with these photos from inside the school, saying the rats have even, quote, disrupted the flow of class in some situations when they have dropped from the ceiling.
They all obviously freaked out and climbed on the desk and then while it roamed around.
She claims a large portion of the student body thinks the school is a, quote, disgusting place and wants the problem addressed.
One of our teachers actually set up mouse traps, and they'll come in the next day and he'll just take pictures with it, and they kind of think it's a joke.
Shelby County Schools sent us a statement regarding the rats at White Station, saying in part, quote, the district's facility staff has been treating the rodent problem at White Station High multiple times per week since the start of the school year. We have also recently hired an external pest control company to help address the problem, but have been informed it could take up to 3 to 4 months to complete the treatment.
Shelby County Schools said they have taken over immediate steps to help with the rat problem, and that improperly discarded food is the primary reason.
A federal judge has ruled a Kentucky law requiring ultrasounds before abortions is unconstitutional. As CNN's Morgan Lentis reports, Kentucky's governor has promised to immediately appeal.
Governor Matt Bevin signed House Bill 2 into law earlier this year. The court's ruling prohibits its enforcement. It's a decision that continues to divide people.
In a 30-page ruling, a federal judge explained why House Bill 2, also known as the Ultrasound Informed Consent Act, was ruled unconstitutional. The decision reads in part, quote, the court recognizes that states have substantial interests in protecting fetal life and ensuring the psychological well-being and informed decision-making of pregnant women. However, HB 2 does not advance those interests. The ruling was met with mixed reaction Thursday.
And I just felt strongly that women have to have all the information in making their health decisions.
For Representative Adia Wushner, required ultrasounds provide that for pregnant women. That's why she says she co-sponsored HB 2.
Women are making some very difficult decisions with many complexities, and this piece of legislation also allowed them to make complete and informed decisions.
Wushner says she was saddened by the court's ruling, as was Governor Matt Bevin. A statement from his office reads, quote, we are disappointed in the court's ruling and will appeal immediately. Meanwhile, attorneys for the ACLU applauded the decision.
While we all want women to have full information before they decide to have an abortion, this was about forcing doctors to violate medical ethics by providing unnecessary information.
Colby Molina says in many cases, seeing an ultrasound or hearing a baby's heartbeat is harmful to the mother's well-being.
Women were sobbing, were upset, were distressed by being forced to go through this procedure.
Kentucky's last abortion clinic is located in Louisville. We reached out to them for comment about this ruling, but we have not heard back. In Frankfort, I'm Morgan Lentis, WLKY News.
More than a week has passed since Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico. Millions are still without power and some areas are in desperate need of aid. CNN's John Lornick reports.
Devastated and desperate. That's the situation for millions of people in Puerto Rico.
This is no way to live, really. They should bring us water, other supplies, because the kids keep asking.
Most residents are still without power and many others don't have basic necessities.
You can't get them there overnight because you got to either get them there by boat or you got to get them by plane.
FEMA officials say they have handed out almost 1 million meals so far, but thousands of packages haven't been delivered yet. Stuck on the island's largest port because of a lack of drivers and vehicle fuel.
The frustration of knowing that maybe right now, there's a person in need of medicine. That right now, babies, children don't have a bottle of water. And it's here. It's in Puerto Rico.
On Thursday, the White House authorized a temporary waiver of the Jones Act, which will allow more ships to bring supplies to the island. As for recovery efforts, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers vows to rebuild Puerto Rico's infrastructure, and area hospitals are attending to the sick and injured.
We have to triage patients, we have to triage logistical needs, and we have to prioritize their delivery so that we can make sure that we sustain lives in an achievable, bite-sized way.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
For more on the weather, let's head over to Aaliyah Harris.
Thank you, Rachel. So for today's current national temperature, Seattle's at 62, when Los Angeles at 82, Denver's at 60, and Dallas at 77. We have Chicago at 67, and Atlanta at 84, and then New York at 69. And then today we have in Knoxville, we have 81, Chattanooga's at 81, Nashville's at 81, Lovely Clarksville's at 79, and down here in Memphis we have 81. And in today's lows, it will be pretty chilly tonight since we have that fall weather going on finally. It'll be 60 in Memphis, and Clarksville will be 52, and be 56 in Nashville, and then over here in Chattanooga will be 60, and then Knoxville will be 60 as well. And today's current temperature will be 86 degrees with winds northeast at 10 miles per hour. And then tonight's temperature will be 52 degrees, so make sure you have a jacket if you plan on being out tonight. And again, the wind will be north-northeast at 6 miles per hour, or participation at 10%. And today for Austin Peay versus UT Martin game day, 6 p.m. at kickoff at 71 degrees and sunny. And then for tonight, it will be go ahead and be fourth quarter, 62 degrees and clear. And in today's 5-day forecast, it will be Friday, it's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 79, the low of 52. Saturday will be sunny as well with a high of 76 and a low of 49. Sunday will be partly cloudy with a few chance of sunshine with a high of 80 and a low of 56. Monday will be sunny with a high of 82 and a low of 60. And on Tuesday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a high of 84 and a low of 60. And still ahead, we have Mason Devers. We'll have your political corner, and then Brandon tells us what's happening in the world of sports. APSU-TV News, we right back.
Welcome back to today's Political Corner. I'm Mason Devers. Some say Trump's rhetoric at the United Nations amounted to a declaration of war. The response came after North Korea's foreign minister said Monday that North Korea had the right to shoot down U.S. bombers in its airspace. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders called the suggestion absurd and delivered another warning to Pyongyang. She stated, "It's never appropriate for a country to shoot down another country's aircraft when it's over international waters. Our goal is still the same. We continue to seek the peaceful denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. That's our focus." CNN's Paula Hancock has more.
A dangerous game of chicken as two nuclear-armed leaders threaten to destroy the other. The war of words between US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is beginning to shake even the most steady of nerves. Recently, Trump has rolled out a new nickname for the North Korean leader, Rocket Man. Kang Myung-do was a member of the elite in North Korea, and he worries that Mr. Trump crossed a line by getting personal with Kim Jong-un, sparking the first ever direct response from the North Korean leader, pledging Trump would pay dearly for threatening his country. Kim Jong-un is a godlike figure, says Kang, and if the godlike figure says such things to the US, it's not just going to stay at words, it needs to be put into action. That's what makes this situation serious. After a Trump tweet over the weekend that the North says it interprets as a US declaration of war, Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho said Monday North Korea is now within its rights to shoot down US bombers, even if they aren't in their airspace. On Saturday, US B-1B bombers flew further north of the DMZ than any other time this century. A show of force that sparked a propaganda video on a North Korean website with crude edits to show the US bombers being destroyed. The video claimed to be posted by an officer of the KPA, the North Korean military. Some defectors have joined forces to show Mr. Trump they support his hardline stance on North Korea. At a recent protest, they pledged to join a war of liberation to eliminate Kim Jong-un. Their hatred for the leader of their home country is hard to miss. This defector activist tells me South Korea tried to talk, then Pyongyang did another nuclear test, so we have no choice but to physically fight. But the vast majority in the region, if not the world, wants peace, security, de-escalation before words spill over into something else.
Once you provoke, if you de-escalate, you're worried about losing face. And so, the United States is backing itself into a corner here. The North Koreans can stay in that corner. I mean, they've lived in that corner for 70 years.
So for now, the insults are flying, the threats are fresh, as the world waits for either Trump or Kim to blink. Paula Hancock's CNN Seoul.
Also on Monday, one day after dozens of football players kneeled and locked arms in response to Trump's criticism of kneeling during the national anthem, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders fielded multiple questions on Trump's escalating feud with the NFL. She defended President Trump's criticism of the NFL's anthem protesters, saying it is, quote, always appropriate for the President of the United States to defend the flag and the national anthem. The controversy began Friday evening at Trump's rally in Alabama when he called for players to be fired if they disrespected the flag. However, the controversy over standing for the national anthem first began last football season when former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick refused to stand during the Star-Spangled Banner. Kaepernick is currently a free agent and has yet to be drafted to a team for this season. Finally, earlier this week, Tennessee Senator Bob Corker announced that he would not run for re-election next year. Already prepared for the most costly political cycle in state history, the senator's announcement is likely to raise the bar even more. So far, the state has a widely contested gubernatorial race, 2 open House seats, and possibly another one coming up. Amid speculation on Tuesday after his announcement, Tennessee Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn confirmed she will announce a decision on whether she will run for the Senate seat next week. During his 2006 Senate election, Corker said he noted that he couldn't imagine serving for more than 2 terms in Washington. Now let's head over to Ben with another breaking political story. Ben?
Thanks, Mason. The FBI is investigating the University of Louisville's basketball program for fraud and corruption. Head basketball coach Rick Pitino is on unpaid leave. It comes after assistant coaches from 4 other schools were among 10 people arrested Tuesday on federal charges related to the investigation. Prosecutors accuse the coaches of taking cash bribes and kickbacks in exchange for stealing elite college players to corrupt financial advisors.
All eyes were glued to the TVs at the Hall of Fame Cafe.
It's a black eye, big time.
The news, not what Cards fans like Carl Harden wanted to hear.
Man, it's like the death penalty. Extremely shocking. Very surprised. I kind of thought we'd get by this again, but I don't know now. It's going to be tough.
Another scandal with this kind of magnitude.
It's just really bad to come on the heels of all the other things. I know people that are big Cards fans that are probably struggling with it, I think. Just paid for season tickets. Maybe don't want to do that anymore.
On campus.
I think it affects us so strongly just because we're so united by our love for our sports teams.
Students say it's what everyone is talking about, even in the classroom.
We're talking about negatives of U of L and positives and weighing pros and cons. We shouldn't get a bad rep because it is a great school and I love it here.
Do you regret choosing U of L as a school?
I don't think I'll ever regret necessarily choosing to attend the University of Louisville. I mean, I don't necessarily base my entire education off our athletic department, but I think it will have a really big effect on just overall morale.
A low point.
Kind of disappointing.
But one students and fans say they will recover from.
Because I still love the school for everything, the sports, no matter what happens. I still came here for the sports, the education, the people. You can't really get that anywhere else.
In a statement released by his lawyer, Pitino said the latest allegations came as a complete shock to him. The university's interim president says that the University of Louisville has not been charged or any of its employees. And now let's head over to Brandon Crosslin for a look at your GovSports update. Brandon?
Thank you, Ben. Last weekend was another perfect weekend for Gov Sports, going 5-0 across all fall sports. Let's start with the football. In one of the most dominant defensive performances in Austin Peay football history, the Governors held Murray State to just 88 offensive yards en route to a 27-7 victory last Saturday. The Govs offense struck early, scoring 17 of their 27 points in the first quarter, including a career-best 45-yard field goal from redshirt sophomore Logan Birchfield. The Govs have now improved to a 2-2 record, looking for a third straight win against number 21 ranked UT Martin tomorrow night during family weekend. If the Govs win tomorrow, it will put them at the top of the OVC conference standings. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. and you can watch it right here on APSU-TV and the OVC digital network. To volleyball now, conference play began for the Govs and the winning streak was on the line. Friday's contest against SIUE went to 5 sets, with the Govs getting the W against the Cougars 3-2. Saturday against EIU, Panthers would prove no different to the Govs as they would go on to win 3-1. With a 3-set sweep of Alabama A&M Wednesday night, Austin Peay takes it to 14-2 record to SEMO and UT Martin this weekend. Start time against the Redhawks tonight is at 6:30. To soccer now, and the Govs returned home to bounce back from their rough first weekend of conference play. Friday night's contest against SIUE would be the bounce back that the Govs needed as they defeated the Cougars 2-1. Kirsten Robertson's goal in the 68th minute would be the game winner for the night. Saturday's contest was a hot one, literally, but it would not stop the Govs from picking up that win in a 2-goal shutout against EIU. Apparently, it stays hot for the opponent at Morgan Brothers Soccer Field because after last weekend's wins, the Govs would improve their perfect home record to 6-0. Austin Peay now heads to the road to take on Jacksonville State and Tennessee Tech. Kickoff for tonight's contest begins against the Gamecocks is at 7 p.m. With September quickly ending, baseball season now looks to the postseason. The World Series champions, Chicago Cubs, scored their spot Wednesday night as the NL Central champions. Last night, they would continue to get ready for the postseason, finishing their series against the St. Louis Cardinals. And the top of the first, Ian Happ would homer over to right center field. To the sixth, Dexter Fowler's ground out would help to bring in fellow Cardinal Tommy Pham for the 1-1 tie. With that, we'd go to extras. In the top of the 11th, Taylor Davis would double to bring in Kyler Schwerber and put the Cubs over the Cardinals 2-1. After their final series against Cincinnati, the Cubs will meet the Nationals in Game 1 of the NLDS next Friday. Now finally over to NHL. The team that everyone will be looking at for the first season is the Vegas Golden Knights. Brand new team. Tuesday night, they would finally bring the preseason to T-Mobile Arena, where all the names of the inaugural season ticket holders were embedded into the ice. The Golden Knights look to defend their kingdom against the Los Angeles Kings. Early in the first period, Cody Eakin would put the puck past Jack Campbell for the early 1-goal lead. Later in the first, Nick Dowd would take a goal from the deflection that would slip by Calvin Pickard. The battle would go on for another 40 minutes with both teams scoring in the second and third periods, which means we're going into overtime, folks. With only 12 seconds gone, center Brooks uses his strong backhand to put the puck in the back of the net and conquer the Golden Knights 3-2 in overtime. This is the only first battle in the war against these Pacific Division rivals, so be looking for some hard-fought contests between these two throughout the season. That's all for sports. When we come back, Rachel Lejeune will have our Health Minute, and you don't want to miss today's Take a Look at This. We'll be right back, folks.
Welcome back. President Trump is under fire for spending so much time talking about the NFL, while Puerto Rican leaders beg for help. He defends his response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria, but his Twitter activity shows he may not be entirely focused on it. CNN's Jen Acosta has details.
President Trump appears to be calling a timeout in his fixation on pro football players protesting during the national anthem and turning his attention to more urgent matters, like the unfolding disaster in Puerto Rico.
I wasn't preoccupied with the NFL. I was ashamed of what was taking place because to me that was a very important moment. I don't think you can disrespect our country, our flag, our national anthem. To me, the NFL situation is a very important situation. I've heard that before. About was I preoccupied? Not at all. Not at all. I have plenty of time on my hands. All I do is work.
Now, the White House is posting photos of the president on the phone with local officials in Puerto Rico and rushing federal officials to the microphones at the White House.
This is a logistically challenging, very unique event.
People of Puerto Rico.
The president is patting himself on the back while noting bringing hurricane relief to the U.S. island territory is difficult.
We have had tremendous reviews from government officials, but the governor of Puerto Rico is so thankful for the great job that we're doing. Frankly, we're doing, and it's the most difficult job because it's on the island. It's on an island in the middle of the ocean. It's out in the ocean. You can't just drive your trucks there from other states.
But on the ground in Puerto Rico, there are still desperate pleas for assistance from island officials, from the mayor of San Juan.
When I say there's a humanitarian crisis, and I am sorry, I know that leaders aren't supposed to cry and stuff. Perhaps it's a sign of weakness. Well, you know, the weak out there are waiting for us. We're not getting to everybody in time. People, especially the elderly, are being locked up in buildings.
To the governor.
We need more help. We need more help with resources. We need more help with people being deployed so that we can get logistical support elsewhere.
Democrats are warning the president help is not coming fast enough.
If you don't take this crisis seriously, this is going to be your Katrina.
On social media, the president has made it clear where his focus lies, on the NFL players protesting during football games. He's tweeted about the NFL 24 times since Saturday, compared to just 4 times on Puerto Rico. At a dinner with conservative leaders at the White House, the president seemed satisfied with his comments on the NFL, telling attendees, "It's really caught on. It's really caught on." But at a news conference with the Prime Minister of Spain, the president appeared ready to move on, with another dire warning to North Korea.
We are totally prepared for the second option, not a preferred option. But if we take that option, it will be devastating, I can tell you that, devastating for North Korea. That's called the military option. If we have to take it, we will.
President Trump wants to move on from the controversy over to Health and Human Services. Secretary Tom Price uses of private planes on the taxpayer's dime. It comes aimed growing frustration over the issue among Republicans on Capitol Hill. Price has promised not to fly on any more private planes. The Office of the Inspector General is investigating, but the fallout continues. CNN's Joe Johns reports.
Will the check that you're writing?
Health Secretary Tom Price under fire for spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayer money for trips on private jets. And CNN has learned it doesn't stop there. An Air Force official says Price also took military aircraft for 2 multi-stop international trips earlier this year, racking up a $500,000 bill, according to Politico. Those overseas trips, which the White House approved, bringing the total cost of Price's travel over $1 million.
We've heard the concern and the criticism, and we look forward to the Inspector General's report.
Price pledging Thursday to pay back a fraction of this total, writing a check for $51,887.31, the cost of his seats on the chartered planes, but not the military flights.
To pay for my portion of those trips. This is unprecedented.
The White House releasing a statement Thursday defending Price's travel on military aircraft, insisting that it is sometimes an appropriate and necessary use of resources. As for the 26 chartered flights Price has taken since May, the administration taking a tougher tone.
The White House does not have a role on the front end of approving private chartered flights at the agencies, and that's something that we're certainly looking into from this point forward.
Sources tell CNN that Price's partial repayment for his flights is not helping his case with the president, but that Mr. Trump is not yet ready to fire his health secretary, although names of possible replacements are being floated.
I am not happy about it, and I let him know it.
This wasteful use of taxpayer money flying in the face of one of Mr. Trump's key campaign promises.
It is time to drain the damn swamp.
It's also the same type of spending Price railed against then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for in 2010.
I want to say to the Speaker, don't you fly over our country in your luxury jet and lecture us on what it means to be an American.
On today's Health Minute, celebrities can influence what we wear, what we listen to, and what we eat. But a new study shows celebs may also influence our health. CNN's Mary Maloney explains in today's Health Minute.
Angelina Jolie's announcement in 2013 that she would undergo a preventive double mastectomy prompted other women to do the same. That's according to a new study. Researchers looked at hospital data from New York and New South Wales, Australia, over a 10-year span. 20 months after the actress's op-ed in the New York Times, researchers noticed the amount of procedures on both continents doubled.
The fact that she is leading women down that path to take a more proactive role in their own health is enormously encouraging. It just makes me think she's using her power for good.
It's not just Jolie. After Katie Couric's televised colonoscopy in 2000, scientists saw a 20% increase in patients getting the test, dubbing the significant spike the Katie Couric effect. Both cases showed the power celebrities have to influence healthcare decisions.
I've been very happy just to see the discussion about women's health expanded, and that means the world to me.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
An Ohio teen with cancer who couldn't make it to his own homecoming because of his treatment schedule got to go after all, and he didn't even need to leave the hospital. CNN's Jeremy Roth will explain in today's Take a Look at This.
Homecoming is a high school tradition no student should have to miss. So when cancer stood in the way of one Ohio student's date to the dance, his date brought the dance to him. Blake Mounts is battling leukemia and couldn't go to the dance because of his chemo treatment. So best friend Caitlin O'Connor showed up with a sign asking Mounts to be her date. He said yes. She brought him an outfit and decorations, and they had the event right there in the hospital. The sweet gesture quickly went viral, racking up hundreds of thousands of likes. O'Connor posted that she'd do it all again to see her friend that happy every day. Hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico is in desperate need of saving, so one comic book artist has created a superhero just for the island. He's using the character to raise money for relief efforts. La Borinqueña is the superhero creation of artist Edgardo Miranda Rodriguez. She's a Puerto Rican woman with mystical powers that allow her to control storms. He's featuring the character at an October 4th exhibition in New York ahead of Comic-Con. 100% of the sales from the prints will go to benefit hurricane relief efforts. Miranda Rodriguez was inspired by the people of Puerto Rico, whom he says have never given up in all adversity they continue to face. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
I actually read about that story this morning, and he was going to ask her, but he couldn't because of his treatments. Yeah. And so she went and asked him in his room, and it was so sweet.
That I love. I love that. Now, how about Saturday? We're going for 3 in a row.
And here's the 3. Here's the 3 and 2.
1, 2, 3. We all got it. We got it going. So, and that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us in the interaction by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/APSU-TV.
Thanks for watching another edition of your Gov's Weekend News Update.
And as always,
let's go Peay!